Hundreds of white supremacists go full Nazi, chanting "Seek Heil" at a drag queen story event. Recently, hundreds of armed far-right extremists, including "Seek Heil" chanting neo-Nazis, accompanied by the right-wing Christian groups, converged on a park in Ohio where parents and children had gathered to enjoy a drag queen story event. The extremists clashed with rainbow umbrella-wielding supporters who had shown up to protect the event. At Wadsworth Memorial Park, just outside Akron, the rock and roll humanist drag queen story hour ended in chaos as tensions raged between activists and protesters. Several far-right extremist and religious groups, including, here's the list, the Proud Boys, Patriot Fund, 3%ers, White Lives Matter of Ohio, Blood Tribe, and unaffiliated conservatives attended the event to disrupt it. Documentarian Ford Fisher captured the ensuing clashes on several videos posted to Twitter. For crowd control, local police had set up metal barriers between and before the event, but they allowed far-right extremists to carry out their organized terror campaign, screaming racial and sexual slurs and hurling vitriol at families simply trying to have a good time. Protesters carried weapons and performed Nazi salutes. At one point, a masked extremist pointed at a black supporter of the story hour and yelled, quote, "There's a gay N-word over there," end quote. Around 15 children were seated inside the venue while Rose, the storyteller, read about treating others how they wanted to be treated and about being good.
Pedophiles get the rope! Why more condition? Why more solution?
They need an invitation or something?
How does it feel being a pedophile?
There's a gay nigger right there. Oh, there's a gay nigger.
Faggot!
Look at that gay nigger.
Right next to the abomination. Pedophiles get the rope!
Pedophiles get the rope.
Pedophiles get the rope!
Pedophiles get the rope.
Pedophiles get the rope!
Pedophiles get the rope.
Why more condition?
Why more solutions?
Why more condition?
Why more solutions?
Why more condition?
Why more solutions?
Say! Say! Say!
He heard the word nigger and he just can't comprehend it.
Our streets! Why more solutions? Sing! Sing! Sing!
Wow. This video is triggering. The only thing that this video needed was for it to be in black and white, because then it could have been 1938 in Berlin. I really don't see any difference. The question of what we just watched is dozens of kids present by a drag queen that is reading a storybook about why you should be good and how you treat other people. The contrast of the people that are listening to the story, which are children, and the adults that are doing the chanting, reminds me again to the triggering factor of this could have been black and white in 1938. Because what were they doing in 1938? They were demonstrating in Seek Heil of exactly the kind of demonstration you just saw against people of religious faith different than theirs and queer people. And we know what the conclusion of 1938 led to from those moments that we just watched. The question for us in 2023 is, where is this moment, which even in the worst days of Donald Trump, we could not have imagined this moment in America. The only question now is, where is this going to go next? Is it 1938 in Berlin and what happens next? Or is something really positive going to turn? I frankly don't know.
Well, you have to wonder, is Kristallnacht coming next? I mean, that's just, it's terrifying. And the other terrifying question is, will they achieve the victory, which, by the way, Sieg means victory in German. Will they achieve this victory that they crave? That's a pretty frightening thought.
I mean, we're still using the word, I think, in this story, protesters, and again, those are domestic terrorists. So I want to continue to
Your
use
words,
the phrase
by the way, I just want
domestic
to
terrorist.
say that. Your words from last week, I believe, of that, swim in my head. It has just seeded an observation that I have really got to work on my vernacular of speech, because I'm still giving them benefit of the doubt.
And calling them far right.
Yeah.
Which, far right used to mean, that you were maybe religious extremist, but this is domestic terrorism. And they're terrorizing children and families, and they're doing it out in the open with their faces exposed. I don't know, Merrick Garland, where are you? Let's if you want to round some people up, they're filming themselves with their faces exposed. They're not hiding anymore. They're out in plain sight because they think it's acceptable. And, at least...
Well, and what scares me is that some of them are, but then there's some of them that are only showing their eyes. So I'm like, what school do you teach at? Where are you a cop?
Are you my mailman?
Right, where are you a mayor, or where are you? Because there's some of them that are very clear, like sunglasses,
or
nothing is coming
officer.
Right, like all of those different things. Like I just have those questions. And a question that I also have is, you're not going to accomplish the goal, because at the end of the day, those children are terrified of you, like not the drag queen. They were there to have a good time. They may or may not know that that was a drag queen or whatever. And here comes this angry mob of primarily men, to yell at you.
And white men.
Yes, like to yell at you. So like, what is the lesson that they're taking, the many lessons that they're taking from that? But all of those men are going to sit at somebody's dinner table. They're going to celebrate with someone for the holidays, for their birthdays, like whatever. What is those folks' responsibility to say, you are not welcome here anymore? If you're going to participate in things like that, like you do not get the privilege of relationship. You are ostracized from community. You don't get to be here. In the same way that they've tried to do that to drag queens. Like, I mean, I told someone the other day, like the time for blackmail is here. Like, what are we doing? They're coming at us and they're coming at our children. Like, how are we stepping back and saying, okay, we can't get our cakes made at your business. You can't come to our grocery store. Like, you can't come into our places.
Well, my question is, where's our community and where are the allies? When we're having literal Nazis show up to protest children, to intimidate children, where are our allies in our community to protect those folks?
Well, the rainbow umbrella, right?
Yeah.
That's a common thing now with these events, to have the people blocking them with the rainbow umbrellas.
But broadly, to your point, not to add words.
Absolutely.
Akron has a sizable LGBTQ community. As this grew in presence, why wasn't there 1,000 LGBT?
And the other thing that really causes me concern is that obviously these neo-Nazis, these extremists, are an extreme example. They provide very hateful and incendiary rhetoric, but all the things that they're advancing are being advanced in state houses around the country with toned down rhetoric by conservative politicians that are trying to outlaw gender affirming care. They're trying to make it illegal to be gay. The Hyatt Regency here in Florida might have their liquor license taken away because Governor Ron DeSantis doesn't like that they hosted a drag queen event on Christmas. Like,
that's where we're at. One final thought. We're moving to Jeff, but I just want to take the opportunity to say we've exactly like what you say in terms of the far right and domestic terrorism. Let's also not allow them to take away the narrative of a drag queen. A drag queen is not a sexual expression. It is not pornographic expression. It is not adult entertainment expression. We've allowed them to get too far in front of us to redefine what a drag queen is. And that drag queen sitting, performing, reading a story is not a sexual experience. Once that's established, what are they protesting? They're protesting not this drag queen or the groomers. They're protesting an entire civilization that they want to end. And they're justifying it on the sexual orientation activity of a drag queen. The premise is false.
Yeah.
Do not allow the premise to move forward. Every time we discuss drag queens, I think we have an obligation to go, your premise is false. They are not a sexual expression in any possible way.
Agreed.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.